Hey everyone, you're listening to the Ask BP podcast, and today we're talking about capital expenditures, what they are, and how to estimate them. Stay tuned.
You're listening to another BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast, where you'll hear short, direct answers to your biggest real estate questions. Submit your question today on Facebook, Twitter, or the BiggerPockets forums by using hashtag AskBP. And don't forget to pick up your copy of the Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing and other great content when you sign up for your free account at BiggerPockets.com. With that, let's get to the show.
All right, today's question comes from Trisha from San Antonio, Texas, and she asks, how do I tell if I'm over or underestimating my capex? Trisha, this is a great question. And to answer it fully, we need to kind of delve into what capex is, and then we can kind of go into how to estimate it to tell if you're over or underestimated. Capital expenditures differ from ordinary property expenses in one very significant way. They're expected to provide value over a long period of time. In finance speak, we call this the useful life. A roof is a classic example of a capital expenditure. You might pay $10,000 to put up a roof today, and you're going to expect that roof to last for 20 years. You're supposed to get use out of it for 20 years. That means that the cost of that roof over the next 20 years is going to be about $40 per month. It's important to note that while you're allocating $40 per month, you're not losing $10,000 today. You're not spending $10,000 and destroying all of the profit from your rental business. You're simply having a cash outlay, which you're then going to allocate over the next, 10 years, or I guess that's 120 months. This same line of thinking might apply to your HVAC or furnace, or a plumbing overhaul, the kitchen cabinets, appliances, anything that you buy that you expect to then use for that property over the next X number of years. Now, the trouble with capital expenditures is that useful life piece. That roof that we're talking about is not going to need to be replaced 20 years from the day that I put it up. It might last me 15 years. It might last me 30. I have no way of knowing at the time that I put that roof up exactly how long its useful life will be. To give a good example of this, when I was growing up, my parents had this dishwasher. We had the dishwasher, I think, the entire time I was living with my parents, from an infant to 21 years, 22 years of age. In that time, the dishwasher never broke. As soon as I moved out, the dishwasher broke and my parents got a new one. That one only lasted 3 years. So you tell me, what's the useful life of a new dishwasher? Is it 22 years or is it 3 years? And this kind of is a great example of demonstrating just how difficult it is to estimate capital expenditures over the long term. You just don't know how long the useful life of some of these items is going to be. So if we accept the fact that accurately predicting the useful life of capital expenditures is a nearly impossible task, the best that we can do is try to be conservative in our estimates. In the case of a dishwasher, I'd probably say, okay, the dishwasher cost me $600 and it's going to have a useful life of just about 3 years. I want to be conservative. If things go better than that, great. I have a lower capital expenditure for my dishwasher than my budget calls for. If not, great. I've planned for that, and that's my expectation now. So to estimate my overall capital expenditures, I might take that $17 a month for my dishwasher. I'm getting $17 by taking a 3-year useful life and a $600 purchase price. Comes out to about $17 a month. And I might add that to my roofing cost per month, which at $10,000 upfront for the roof over 30 years is about $40 per month. $40 plus $17 is $57. So between those two items, I can estimate capex expenditures of $57. I then repeat this process for every other capital expenditure I can think of. When I got to replace the kitchen cabinets, when I got to do new plumbing, how long my furnace is going to last, and anything else I can think of. Now, the other important thing to remember with capital expenditures is that they are going to come one day. You will have to replace the roof, whether it's because you're taking proactive action and replacing it when the problems start to appear, or when the leak springs and you have to replace it that day. You're going to have to do it down the line. At that point, you're either going to be prepared for it or you won't. Bad investors call these types of capital expenditures emergencies or disasters. Good investors see this as a normal cost of doing business and have the cash up front to pay for them. Being able to pay for capital expenditures is a choice. In real life, in personal life, we call this an emergency fund. In business, we call it working capital. Setting aside the cash for these capital expenditures, which you know are going to come, but you don't know when, is part of doing business in real estate. It's an absolute must. If you do not have capital set aside for capital expenditures or emergencies that happen, it's not a question of if you'll lose your property, it's when. When will those bad things happen? When will that roof need to be replaced? And at that point, you won't have any money and the property's gone. In summary, capital expenditures are large expenses that come about infrequently. They are expected to have a useful life and provide value to the property over a long period of time. To estimate capital expenditures, we make a list of these types of purchases, estimate their useful lives, and do this conservatively so that we are prepared for the worst case scenario. We also set aside large chunks of cash to cover all of our expected capital expenditures and then some, because we know, the only thing we know for certain is that we are certainly wrong with our projections of when we'll have to replace certain items in our house. So to answer your question, Tricia, are you over or underestimating your capital expenditures? You want to overestimate your capital expenditures because you can't guess that useful life with a high degree of accuracy over the very long term. You want to be conservative. All right, everybody, today's success quote of the day comes from one of my favorite historical figures of all time. I've quoted him before. It's Ben Franklin, and he says, "Failing to prepare is preparing to fail." I think that quote is absolutely relevant to our discussion today about capital expenditures. We know capital expenditures are going to come, and it's our choice whether to prepare for them intelligently or fail when they come up. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. If you liked today's show, don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you're watching here on YouTube, or leave a comment in the section there if you're watching on BiggerPockets. In pursuit of your dreams, don't just learn, but take action. For the Ask BP podcast, this is Scott Trench, signing off.
You've just heard another episode of the BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast. Submit your question today on Facebook, Twitter, or the BiggerPockets forum by using hashtag AskBP. And for more incredible real estate investing tools and education, including a free download of our book, The Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing, head over to BiggerPockets.com and sign up for your free account today. We'll see you on the next show.